Welcome everyone to this self-flow and restorative practice together. My name is Monica Reyes. I'm the founder of Engineering Movement. And tonight I'm being accompanied by Matt, who's going to be practicing with us today. Before we start getting into motion, as we're going to be practicing and getting more into yin and restorative territory, we're going to be needing some props. So if you have a bolster, fantastic. If not, we're going to now show this homemade bolster that we have made out of 2 blankets. So the idea is, if you have a sufficiently thick blanket, you roll it up and then you bring some elastic band on top of it. In our case, because that one wasn't sufficiently rigid and kind of consistent, kind of compact, then we put another one on top and tie it up with the elastic bands. And off we go, we have a bolster. Now we're going to be getting into that sort of more healing and restoring the parasympathetic nervous system. If you have a block, we're also going to be using a block. Otherwise, with a bolster, we can actually manage. Let's get started to fully arrive to the body, fully arrive to the space. Let's start lying down. With the knees bent, so we're having the lower back nice and protected, nice and soft, bringing your feet towards the mat, very slowly. Both of your arms are going to be by your sides. You're going to start closing the eyes, and you're going to start tuning inwards. Tuning into the sensations, into whatever's coming up for you right now. Become aware of your surroundings, become aware of my voice, of the sounds. If anything, to use that and draw the attention even deeper. Tune into the breath now, into the inhalation and the exhalation. Observe the breath. Notice what is the texture and what is the pattern of that breath. Is it agitated? Is it smooth? Is it deep? Is it shallow? Not with the aim of changing anything, just with a simple aim to observe. As we're now practicing at the end of the day, after a full day of activity, mental and physical activity, it is the perfect moment to wind down. Get within the body and allow it to release and restore. Notice how, as you inhale, your torso lifts, expands, your spine lengthens. And there's a slight activation through your shoulders and the sole of your feet. You're not really gripping, just allowing that connection with the ground underneath you to make you feel safe and accompanied. As you exhale, let go a little bit more of the body, of the tension, of any resistance that might be coming up. And especially focusing into the exhalations. See if we can start lengthening and deepening the breath. We're going to be using the breath as an anchor to the present, as an anchor to acquire a sense and a mind that is calm, that is connected. Start imagining right now a beautiful landscape in front of you. You have trees around you. See the details of the leaves, the color, how solidly are grounded into the soil, into the earth. The sun is out, and you can feel the warmth on your skin. When you look closer, you realize that there's a lake, beautiful lake with very tranquil and peaceful waters. If you look down towards the lake, you will see that in the apparent stillness, there's a lot of life and action happening underneath. There are animals, there are plants, there's lots going on there. You also see the color of that water, very inviting for you to get in. Now start taking the form and the shape of a pebble and becoming that pebble. Pick a shape, a color for that pebble that is you, that right now is suspended in the air, and slowly it's going to start coming down, first to touch the surface of the lake. Feel the change of temperature, the change in the light, and slowly entering the water. The welcoming waters, feeling safe, and slowly sinking a little bit deeper and deeper. Noticing the change in temperature, the changes in the light as you start taking a deeper dive into the lake. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's just you taking a deeper look into your mind, into your consciousness. There's going to be a point where you feel that you have touched the bottom. And you feel supported, you feel calm, feel at peace, feeling supported by the bottom, by the ground, but equally uplifted by the water. And you can feel the calmness, the relaxation, almost as if you were floating. Stay with this feeling as long as you can through the practice. We will be getting in shapes and in forms. Try to be as little disruptive as you can. Now, as we are in this deep state, it is the time to pick an intention for the practice today. It might be for you, it might be for someone that you love. Maybe for something that you would like to see more in your life, something that you would like to let go of. Go with it, see it, feel it, embrace it, and trust that the practice will bring whatever is needed for you to get closer towards that goal. Returning to the breath, returning towards yourself. Deepening the breath. And once you're ready, we're going to start coming back from that lake, that pebble, all the way from the bottom, coming up to the surface, floating on the surface. Separating from the water, coming back into the sun, the warm sun, coming back to yourself. Once you're ready and as mindful as you can, start wiggling your toes and your fingers. And hug your knees towards your chest. Massaging your lower back if there's any tension that might have come up in these first minutes of the practice. And drop the knees towards one of the sides. Very mindfully opening towards one of the sides. Your torso, your shoulders are still very much connected to the ground. Opening through the lateral of the body. Inhaling, coming back to center. Exhaling, dropping the knees towards the opposite side. Breathing slowly and breathing deeply. That's how we access restoration and regeneration within the mind, the body, and the soul. Inhaling, coming back to center. And whether you would like to turn towards one of the sides to come all the way up to seated, or whichever variation that you would like to use to come up. Just be as little disruptive as you can. You would like to roll to one of the sides and use the hands to push all the way up. Finding a cross-legged position where you are comfortable with a long spine. As you inhale, you bring both of the arms overhead. And as you exhale, you start swiping the air all the way back to you. Inhaling, reaching up. Exhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling, last time, reaching up. Exhaling, sweeping down. Beautiful. We're going to now transition into a long force. Awakening the spine, just to be very gentle. We are not really transitioning to get into a dynamic practice, so we don't really want to wake up the body too much to actually be into this sympathetic way of operating in the nervous system. We're going to start doing very small, very gentle cat and cows. Letting go of the head, letting go of the neck. Start shifting your hips, your shoulders, your hips into a little bit of an organic and somatic movement and activation. Allowing the breath to guide that movement and that motion. Don't hold it. Allow yourself to connect with the sensations in the body right now. Closing the eyes if necessary. So making this conversation between you and your body a little bit more private, a little bit more intimate. And once you're done, we'll come back into neutral position. From that neutral position, we're going to come all the way, taking the hips all the way back into a child's pose. Forehead on the mat. Reaching with your arms forwards. As you inhale, you lift, and as you exhale, you're going to start moving the fingers and the arms all the way towards the right side, opening through the lips. And in this practice today, we're going to be moving very mindfully. We're going to be holding the poses for a little bit longer compared to an vinyasa leg practices in between 3 and 5 minutes. Now we're just getting into the body, into this slow flow as a transition. Inhaling, coming back to center, reposition with your hands and your arms. As you exhale, you're gonna now start shifting all the way towards the left. You're not aiming too much into reaching with the fingertips further, which that will be what we're doing in a dynamic practice. You're really trying to bring space. Here is more about releasing and about finding the space in that release, in that lightness that we are generating. Allowing yourself to yawn. If you would like to, that's a great sign that your brain is already coming into that balance. It's actually a way that the body has to bring more oxygen to the brain. Inhaling, coming back to center. And returning into your tight pose. Allowing the head to be heavy, the neck to be heavy. Perhaps you would like to bring your arms around instead of just bending forwards, relaxing the shoulders as well. It's a very nice way to allow the upper body, especially the shoulders and the shoulder blades still towards the neck, to release. As we are bringing a little bit more extra weight into that upper side of the torso. Beautiful. Coming all the way up into all fours. From these all fours, we're going to get now a little bit into shoulders. As we start shifting the weight towards the right hand. Inhaling, lifting your left arm up. Exhaling, bringing your left arm all the way under and across. Allowing the left side of your head, your ear, to rest on the mat. You have your options here. Option 1, your right hand stays where it is. She's actually close by. Option 2, to stretch your right arm all the way forwards, bringing a little bit more space into the rib cage. Really allowing the body to slow down. There's no performance here, there's no competition, there's nothing that we are aiming to. On the contrary, we are actually now allowing the body to take over and to release. A couple of more breaths here. Okay, my lovelies, very slowly we're going to bring that right hand all the way back, close by. So we have a little bit more of a better balance to start shifting the weight back. Pushing the floor away with that right hand, we're going to now bring the left arm all the way back into our all fours. Allowing a moment here to reposition into the body, into the emotions, into the feelings, the sensations. This is a very subtle practice that we are embarking ourselves in tonight. And we're going to go into the other side. As we inhale, we shift the weight towards the left hand this time and lifting the right arm all the way up towards the sky. Exhaling, we're going to take that right arm all the way through. Right side of your head is on the mat. As we did on the other side, go with whichever variation that you went. So whether it is your left hand close by, or extending that left arm all the way forwards. Feeling the release into the shoulder. In this case will be the right shoulder, but also the opening through the left side of the body into these really mellow twist. Really sit into the stillness of the body, of the mind. And remind yourself that if there's anything that is coming up that feels a bit rough to handle, the breath is there to support you. You inhale, you bring prana like force into that constriction, into that tightness, and then you release through the exhalation. You let it go. Another breath then. And very slowly, well done, my lovelies, we bring the left hand back to the center and pushing the floor away. The right arm comes all the way back into all fours. And from these all fours, now we're going to take a child's pose. Arms around us, forehead on the mat. Allow your head to be heavy, your neck to be heavy. Check if there's any resistance that is coming up. Your body, your mind, in the way you feel. Sometimes it's hard to let go, just be. So you let it go, or just to let it be where it is. A couple of more breaths. And from that child's pose, we're going to lift all the way up to seated. We're going to transition, keep working a little bit with the kidney meridians and the digestive meridians now to a twist, but we're going to be approaching twists from a more passive approach instead of just being so active and activating. We're going to be using the props for that. For that purpose, we're going to be getting your bolster, whether it is a bolster or a homemade bolster, into the mat on its long side. And let's start on the left side first. From your knees, you're going to lie onto your left side. Both of the legs are going to be stretched. Right leg on top of the left. And the bolster is going to come into your waist. You might have to reshuffle yourself around a little bit. And here we have two variations. One, we stay here, we don't have any support for the head. You can pause the video to find whatever you need here. So we can actually use the elbow and the forearm just to have a mild activation into that side of the body. Or we might even use the block that we have to allow the head to rest. A little bit more of a passive activation. Your left arm is going to be facing up that left hand. And you have the option for the right arm to be on your side. If you would like to bring a bit more of an opening into the lateral, you take that right arm all the way above around you. You'll feel a bit more of an opening into your right side as well. Closing the eyes. And allowing these activations through the kidney meridians, through the digestive system. And the detoxification system as well, as we are here targeting liver, gallbladder as well. If you feel a bit cold, that's absolutely normal. As the body shuts down any functions that are not vital for your functioning. Therefore, temperature-wise, you might be getting a little bit cold. If that's the case, just get an extra blanket or something. And if the mind wanders, come back to the breath. Ask yourself if whatever the mind is bringing up supports your goals, supports the work that you came to do here on your mat right now, or not. Let go a bit more of the body. Remember the breath. Remember that the breath is supporting you. Use it. Okay, my lovelies, very mindfully, if you have your right arm extended in internal rotation, you're going to bring it all the way back towards your midline, towards the center. Allowing that shoulder girdle to come back. And slowly, it's going to be easier. I find it easier if I bend the knees. If you bend the knees, you have a bit more support into your legs as well. So you turn, you're going to turn 90 degrees, facing down. Now have a pause in between until we go into the other side. We're going to be swifted, transitioning into our supported stance. So with this one, both of your legs are going to be straight. You're going to be using your hands and your forearms into the mat. You see how high would you like to go? Usually for me, the bolster goes at the end of my sternum. That's where the bolster goes. But depending how high your bolster is, then you're going to go a little bit down, a little bit further down. For me, that's how it feels right. that feels. No. Coming into your forearms. And making your neck very long. We are not rounding the neck, and we are not lifting it. We're just making that neck very long, as it was in a straight line. You're gonna feel immediately that your head becomes almost weightless. Closing the eyes. Allowing the gentle activation into your longer spine. The release. And the support into your digestive system. A couple of more breaths here. Check if there's any parts of the body that feel tight. If there's any tension coming up. Using the breath to remove them. Okay, my lovelies, from where we are, we're going to now turn into the opposite side. Bringing your hands closer so you can lift yourself up. If you need to do a very quick child's pose here, to counterbalance your lower back, please go ahead and do it. Before we turn to the opposite side for that lateral opening and release. Once you're ready, coming onto your right side. Playing the bolster, playing the block if you like the support into the head. Bolster comes into your waist. The right arm becomes extended towards the side. Bolster supporting your head. And if you did into the other side, bringing your left arm all the way over. Closing the eyes. And really allowing the body to melt, to surrender. Take a more breath on this side. See if there's anything else that you'd like to let go of. Is there any further space that you would like to access? Okay, my lovelies, very slowly and mindfully, try not to disturb the process that is going on in your body right now. We're going to bring the left arm all the way back towards the body, towards the midline. And bending the knees if necessary. Start coming all the way up. Again into a rebound pose. Rebound poses are meant during the restorative and yin practices to allow the body to come back into this new order, into this new balance that we have created. We're going to be using the bolster underneath the knees and coming into Shavasana. For the back to be neutral on a vertical, allowing any of the opening, any of the awakening that we have done right now on the fascia, on the deep connective tissue, to come into this new balance. With every breath, allow your body to feel heavier and to sink down towards the floor. Wiggling your toes and your fingers, coming back to the space. Your knees towards your chest and rolling to one of the sides. You're going to come back to seated once you're ready. Getting into the hip area now. This is a variation. This is a softer variation of what it would be frog, opening both of the hips on external rotation. For a lot of people that, I used to teach that pose for a long time, but I realized a lot of people, whether they had very tender knees, or it was a little bit too much for the hips. So I like to now approach it from a different angle, which is doing one leg at a time. We're gonna lie on the bolster. We're going to use the bolster as supports. Did you see if you get really long? In my case, I'm quite short, so I don't really need further support. But actually, if you're like Matt, like someone that is quite tall, you might need a block for your forehead on top of it. Once you're in that vertical, really allowing the body to be heavy, we're going to leave the left leg as it is, but we're going to open the right towards the side, creating a 90-degree angle between the opening into the hip with the knee and with the ankle. Toes are pointing out. We are allowing a very gentle and mellow opening and release into the hip joint, the IT band, the hamstring, and the quad. Allow especially the upper body to be heavy. For your shoulders, your head. You might all like to turn your head towards one of the sides. Absolutely nice. Okay, my lovelies, very carefully, very mindfully, we're going to now use the hands to push a little bit of weight there and bring the right leg back to center, so both legs are going to be straight. Allowing your hips, your lower back, your spine to readjust before we go into the opposite side. Into the left. Be mindful that knee doesn't overpass the hip. We're creating that 90-degree angle, so then the hip doesn't lift too much from the ground, from that midline. Sending the head towards the side, allowing the body to relax. Checking with the breath, if you're holding the breath. And using it to release anything that is coming up. Any tightness, any tension. Exhaling, letting go. Couple of more breaths on that side. Okay, my lovelies. Very mindfully, we're going to now bring that left leg back into the midline, into the center, using the hands to support you. Before we turn into our child's pose as a rebound pose, allowing the hips and your body to come back into that neutral vertical alignment before we go into child's pose. Releasing through the exhalation. Couple of more breaths. Before we come back, very slowly rounding the spine, sitting on our heels first, before we find a way to be on the mat, seated on the mat. I'm going to give you two options here, depending on whether you like to work a little bit more into the hip release, into the hip opening and release. If that's the case, then go with butterfly legs. Sole of the feet are together. Depending how close you're going to bring them to you, to your navel, to your groin, that's going to be more intense into the joint, into the hip. If you bring them a little bit further out, that's going to be less intensive into the hip. That's option number one. Option number two, if you would like to work much more into internal rotation of the hip and also hamstring and a bit more of hip flexor as well, then you have both of your legs stretched. And the difference here is that if we were in any other vinyasa class or any more active class, we'll have both of the feet flexed. And we're aiming to reach forwards as much as we can. Here, if the feet come a little bit further out, that's perfect because we are working on the subtle part of the body, on the fascia and the deep connective tissue. Whichever ratio you want to go for, we're going to be using the bolster, the blocks. Some of us might find that having just the bolster as it is and folding forwards is enough, is sufficient. That might be a little bit too much. And otherwise, we're going to be using the block, the bolster on the forehead. I'm going to give you, would you like my bolster? Yeah, you okay? Otherwise, if that's still too much for you, you can also use the blocks to build a little bit of a structure here. So you don't need to hold the bolster. One of the blocks underneath, so you're not really holding the bolster. So. Breathe in into the discomfort and breathe out the release. Make sure that your head and your neck is not right now tense, but also trying to release the neck here. Couple of more breaths. And slowly rounding the spine, coming all the way up. We're gonna now get into our final finishing poses. We're gonna bring the bolster back into the mat on its length. And slowly coming down towards the mat, allowing yourself a moment to be there. We're gonna now bring the bolster slightly further closer towards the tail. And the idea with this is that the bolster is supporting your pelvis, not really the coccyx, but your pelvis. So by the time that you lift both of your legs up, it feels like almost like your legs are floating and having no weight at all. Both arms are by your side, closing the eyes. Counterbalancing the circulation on the legs and activating the lymphatic systems. Couple of more breaths here. And slowly we're going to start bending the knees, shifting the weight back to the front of the mat, pushing the bolster away. Both of the feet are on the mat, on the bolster now. I'm going to bring the right knee towards the chest for a moment, releasing the ankle. And we're going to cross that right leg on top of the left. Slowly allowing that cross, those knees, to drop towards the left side. Both of the shoulders are on the mat, opening both of the arms. Turning the head towards the right side. Inhaling, coming back to center. Both of the feet are on the bolster. Now we're hugging the left knee towards the chest. Releasing any tension into the ankle, circling a little bit. And crossing the left knee onto the right. Dropping both towards the right side. Opening the arms. Turning the head towards the left side. Another breath here. And we start our way back to center. Bringing the bolster a little bit closer, so both of the knees are supported by the bolster. Arms are by your sides, palms are facing up. Closing the eyes. And transitioning into your Shavasana. Letting go of the breath, letting go of your body, of your mind. Your full body, your whole body is fully relaxed. It is fully relaxed. Start deepening your breath, bringing the awareness back towards your physical body. Easing your way back to the present moment. Once you're ready, at your own pace, start wiggling your toes and your fingers. Easing your transition back. Introducing some mind movements. If you would like to go through your stretch or hanging your knees towards your chest, whatever you would like to do. And we're going to roll towards one of the sides, right or left. Going to be there for a couple of breaths. Acknowledging the healing work that we have done in the past hour. Embracing this new opportunity for regeneration. Feeling this new rebirth at a cellular level, but also an energetic level. Once you're ready, using your hands, come back into seated, as we're going to be closing the practice together. Hands to the heart center, on Anjali Mudra, acknowledging ourselves for having showed up to the practice today, thanking ourselves for having chosen us during this entire hour, and the practice, the meaning that we give to this practice of yoga, activating inner peace, calmness, strength, flexibility, whatever it is. Just thank that you have chosen you for this entire hour. We're going to now close with an Om 3 Shanti so we can all go in peace and harmony, divinely protected. Inhaling through the nose. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Love, peace and abundance to all of you. Thank you so very much for your practice, for your energy, for your dedication. Namaste. Jai. Thank you much. Drink plenty of water. Take your time to come back to whatever is waiting for you at the other side. And hope to see you very soon in another of our sessions. Follow us on Ingenium in Movement, on Instagram, on Facebook, and sign up to our free newsletter on ingeniuminmovement.com. Namaste.